Bye. Yes, we are live in the afternoon with Alan Lazaro, one of tough names for me to roll off my tongue. Um, and those of you who are available this time of day, great. If you're not, I know many of you will catch it on the YouTube replay, on the reels and so forth. I'm hitting the show comments on stage button to see how many people may actually be there. And so, Alan, anybody, anybody can read the text I wrote about you, how you start age of 2, y'all, and so on, so forth, and so on. Who are you, and why are you doing what you're doing to make a help people make a difference in their own lives?
So
you can go, you man.
Yeah,
you hear me?
Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. There might be a little bit of a delay. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Can
it
you hear
is.
me okay?
That's what's happening. It's a little bit of a delay. I'm good.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So thank you for having me first and foremost. I really appreciate it. I really do. My story in a nutshell of why I do what I do, why I'm trying to make a difference, is because I got in a car accident when I was 26 years old. I'm 36 now. I usually joke. I say I'm hoping to hit puberty by 37. And the reason why, I have it written right over here, to reach my own unique potential and help others do the same, everything else is secondary. Potential is my word.
Wow.
And wow. I've kind of designed my life. I'm an engineer, so everything's designed around this one word of potential, helping people reach their potential, reaching my own unique potential. Unique is the key word there. And through fitness, personal development, and business, and I do coaching, training, and podcasting. So the one word is potential. The subjects that I study, the obsessions, the passion is fitness, personal development, and business. And the vehicles for which I deploy that is coaching, training, and podcasting. So coaching is 1-to-1, training is 1-to-several, and then podcasting is 1-to-scale. And I actually have a 10,000 hour tracker I started doing 10 years ago. When I was 26, I got in a car accident. My dad died in a car when he was 28. And so this was a head-on collision, my fault, crossed the double yellows, not a fender bender. This was not good. Physically, everyone was okay, but this was the second chance my dad never got. That was 10 years ago. So that's when I found personal development. That's when I found fitness. And that's when I started my own business. It was Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. And when I found personal development, self-improvement, and personal growth and mental health, I realized, why the hell didn't we learn this in school? Because I was the sort of straight A student guy. And I realized I wanted to bring personal development to the school systems and to the masses. And I'm still kind of on that trajectory, next level university, how to be healthier, wealthier, and more in love. And so ultimately, that's what I do. That's who I am. That's who I aspire to be. That's who I used to be. That's who I am now. But at 26, it really dialed up a lot. Before 26, I think I was more lost and things were less by design. I was always an achiever, but I was kind of lost. And then I spent the last 10 years really understanding myself, others in the world, and where I fit in it.
Mm-hmm. So now at your stage of life, 36, it's funny because you're in that age bracket between both of my sons. And my oldest he's doing some amazing things with his business. Speaking to a person, especially in this economic climate we're in now, who's in their 50s, who are seeking a reboot in life, what is a nugget you would give that person based on what you just said?
Well, the first one is checking in with your self-belief. My car accident at 26 took me off autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people end up on autopilot. until they face mortality or a divorce or
Mm.
some
Yes.
catastrophic failure.
Mm-hmm.
And what is really alarming is that it takes a lot of us a car accident or a divorce or the death of a loved one or death of a pet or something to sort of shake us
Mm-hmm.
out of complacency, shake us out of autopilot. But if you want, you don't actually have to wait for a car accident. You can just listen to podcasts like this and get off autopilot.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so if I were to shake someone off autopilot for someone who's in their 50s, it would be think about your life and think about your regrets and think about when you were the most fulfilled and think about when you were the least fulfilled and figure out why. At the end of the day, we want to win at certain things, right? Maybe you're in the finance industry, you want to win in finance. Maybe you play basketball, you want to win in basketball, but we weren't really taught how to win at life. And to me, winning at life is being healthier, wealthier, and more in love.
Mm-hmm.
Health is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
the four parts of our nature.
Mm-hmm.
Wealth is how you earn your money. In other words, is it
Mm-hmm.
meaningful work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Is it increasing or decreasing based on the future of where the economy is going?
Mm-hmm.
I always playfully joke. I say, don't sell horses when the car gets invented. Someone
Mm-hmm.
got very upset with me once because they're like, I love horses. I said, listen, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then love is your intimate relationship, your immediate family, your extended family,
Yeah.
your friends, clients, colleagues, mentors, mentees. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, those are the three areas. Those are the three areas that
Okay.
really matter. And if you're top 1% in health, top 1% in wealth, and top 1% in love, which is what I think everyone really does want, if they're honest with themselves, that actually means you're 1 in a million statistically. 1/100 times 1/100 times 1/100, that means you're one in a
Mm-hmm.
million. And so it's not easy. Each one of those, health, wealth, and love, is a full time job. And if you're in your 50s and you feel like you need that, here's the deal. Your last few chapters, you can really. I have one client, her name's Mo. She's in her early 60s. She said, Alan, I've got at least 12 more years of my career, at least. She just got her
Mm.
CNA license 3 weeks ago. She got her CNA license. If you can hear my landscapers, I apologize.
Mm-hmm. You're
And
fine.
she is starting a whole new career.
Mm.
And to me, she has more life in her than some people I know in their 20s and 30s. So it's,
Mm.
to me, I'm a striver, not an arriver. I'm not about arriving. I think arriving is dumb. I think striving and achievement and climbing great mountains. I think fulfillment is a byproduct of climbing a meaningful mountain. And
Mm-hmm.
I tried the arriving thing. I drank too much too often. I tried the carefree wandering. I think it's all BS. I think we all need
Mm-hmm.
to design our future in advance and then work toward it. And I think that's actually when human beings are at their best.
So basically, what you're saying is something that's directly associated with my slogan, which I don't always live up to. The slogan of "No matter what happens, I win. No matter what happens, I win." Uh, I, it'll be rare that anyone comes here. Here's my show that I don't give my own little backstory, tie in with that, and tie in with what you just said, because I think that slogan attaches itself to everyone in some capacity. I was at the place where I had a job I enjoyed doing, but I wasn't totally happy with it. I
Mm-hmm.
was, for whatever reason, I wanted the job I loved doing back, from which I had been terminated. And come hell or high water, I was gonna get that job back no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pursued that job for over 6 years. And then it came down to the day when my current supervisor, it's one thing about working for local governments, I don't know about federal government, everybody knows everybody. Got wind that I was trying to go back to my old job. So I got in the office one day, we were talking once I finished my routes. He was like, basically, I heard you trying to leave us. I'm like, yeah. He said, well, XYZ. I said, well, I see it this way. If I don't get hired back over there, I have this job here. If I get hired back over there, I'm back where I want to be. So no matter what happens, I still win. I don't lose in either way. And
Well,
around that time came my wife, Karen, and she was like, "Yeah, that's the slogan you need to live by." Um, and it ties back into what you were saying about the CNA story. I walked that out now, February of this year. I walked away from working for anyone but myself. So
Really?
yes, I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
my
yeah.
side hustle. I'm diving into some of the things we talked about off screen.
Now it's your
The
main hustle.
podcast don't pay me. Don't. It's scary, but the
Yeah, man.
podcast don't pay me anything. But it financially, but what it pays me is mental wealth, emotional wealth, spiritual wealth. 'Cause I get all this great. I'm crazy. I've had more people come on my show since February than I had the first 5 years of my show,
Nice.
and I've grown, and they've grown.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm living out the life is about more than living podcast slogan and theme. I'm bringing that back around to what you said about her because I'm 62 years old.
Whoa.
I had that 40 some year, 45, 40 something crash. But I promised myself when I was 62, I'd be working for myself no matter how difficult it would be. I
Nice.
didn't know it would actually happen. And
Nice.
I'm having people on you, like on my show, like I tell you off camera, that, hey, I probably end up being the person that dive into your products and services because I believed in what I learned about it. Um, so, and anyone that catches this podcast will know this can be a rarity. This is not where you come, and I said it on camera to push your products, but you are one of those rare individuals. The other one was a gentleman who supports veteran programs around the world, helps vets around the world. Going back to this though about that person, the story you shared in your story, um, I'm gonna use my own self and let you play off of it.
Okay.
And when I decided to leave my last job, I was the most secretive I ever been. To the point that my supervisor was like, "Yeah, where are you going? Another? Who you going to work for now? You don't work for." I call it out. You don't work for City of High Point. You don't work for Greensboro. You don't work for us. Which one? Which job? Which city you want to? City you going to work for now? I'm like, it's not your concern. What
Nice.
you need to know is I will not be here after so and
Nice.
so date. Uh, well, I looked at that podcast and think, how much money you make off of that? I said, that's not your concern either. I will not be here.
Nice.
Uh, so that I kept those things under wraps because I heard other people around me doing their side businesses, doing whatever, the way they want to do those things. And when they would engage me in conversation, my question would be, are you working yet to free yourself of punching a clock here?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the end game? Is are you working yet so you can be doing what you love? Because it seems like you love what you're doing, but you're stuck here. And well, so how would you? What would you say to a person that may come across that may reach out to you that who's I love what I do, but I can't afford to give this paycheck up.
Yeah. Well, the first
That's a tough
thing,
question.
yeah. So the first thing is, and I coach business owners. I coach 20 business owners
Okay.
currently. Low expenses is a superpower
Hmm.
because
How's that?
if you have high expenses, so I'm the CEO and CFO of our company. We have an 18-person
Right.
team,
Right.
and I started from scratch as well. We bootstrapped this company. I didn't get any
Right.
investors or anything like that. Like
Right.
Kevin and I, my business partner, we
Right.
bootstrapped from the ground up.
Hmm.
And 8 years ago, we started together. 10 years
Hmm.
ago for me, 8 years ago for him. And now we're again, very successful is relative, right? If we're comparing to
Hmm.
Amazon, we're not very successful. Okay.
Yeah.
But if we
Anyway,
compare to, yeah, if we
right.
compare to the statistical podcasters, we're very successful. But what I would say to someone is how high are your expenses? Because if they're too high, you're going to
Hmm.
need to stay at your job or get another one.
Hmm.
So Kevin and I, we had very low expenses. He lived for $500 a month with one of his
Hmm.
best friends, and he helped renovate the property in exchange for low rent
Okay.
at the beginning. Now we have
Hmm.
much higher expenses. 18-person
Right.
tean, payroll, it's
Right.
very different now.
All
But in the
that stuff.
beginning,
Right.
yeah, in the beginning, you have to be willing to have really low expenses. And I drove a 2009 Subaru Legacy, and before that, it was a 2004 Volkswagen Passat, and before that, it was a Pontiac, $3,200
Hmm.
cash. So, and now I have a Tesla that's 700
Hmm.
plus a month.
Right.
But what I would say to people is a lot of times we are trapped by our own expenses. And
Okay.
in all honesty, as someone who has an 18-person team and a large company with 17
Mhm.
departments now,
Mhm.
the expenses are insane.
Mhm.
It's crazy, right? And now I live in a very beautiful place. You can hear my landscapers outside.
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
very
Right.
grateful.
Mhm.
I never used to share this, and now I want to because I want to not be a coward. I grew up in an environment where when my stepdad left at 14, we went from
Mhm.
boats and ski trips in the mid 90s,
Mhm.
early 2000s to
Mhm.
I got free lunch at school
Mhm.
because our income was so low. I went from I hope I get into college to even if I do get in, it's $50,000 a year and I can't go
Mhm.
because
Right.
we can't afford it. Bootstrapped my way through high school, got scholarships and financial aid. Very grateful.
Mhm.
I did the traditional path. I did the preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, corporate.
Mhm. Mhm.
And after corporate car accident, then I started my own company. But I went
Mhm.
broke. I went
Mhm.
from a global top 1% earner, computer engineer, master's in business,
Right.
to broke.
Broke. Right.
And so if you want to start a company, you have to expect it to be hard.
Mhm.
You have to there's three models. There's the traditional model that I just explained. You can stay
Mhm.
in a punch a card. There's the hybrid model where you do half and half. It sounds like you did that for a while. And then there's the
I'm
all-in
like,
model.
yeah.
Yeah, there's the all-in
Oh, yeah.
model
But
where
anyway,
where
yeah.
you burn your boats and you go all in and risk it all.
I'm risking it
And
all.
yeah, you're
But
risking it. Well,
yeah.
good for you. I think
But that's
it
that
takes
was.
tremendous
But
courage.
I'm gonna go back to what you said though too. And my wife and I are both entrepreneurs. We both move differently. Her, I will say this: having someone who believes that you're capable, you are not. Is part of the reason I was able to do what I've done. And we're not even a whole year out yet. This was February of this year. I took that leap,
Oh, nice.
and here you are on the show, giving
Nice.
nuggets away.
You
Yeah.
know it. Hang on to every win you've got. It will never be easy. Business is
Mm-mm,
brutal, right?
mm-mm.
So we grew our business by 119% year over year for 4 years straight.
Wow,
Then we went to 18% and then 11%. So
wow.
when you're growing by 119% year over year, you lose your mind. You don't mean to. You
Mm-hmm,
buy it, run it, do it.
mm-hmm,
We had 24 people. We had a 24 department company with
mm-hmm,
a charity. And I had to go to Kevin. I had to say, brother, we overextended.
mm-hmm,
What are the departments we would go out of business without? And we only came
mm-hmm.
up with eight out of
Wow,
24. Now we have a
wow.
much smaller team, 18-person team. Got rid of the wrong people. We also got rid of all departments except for 8 and a couple others, and then we re-expanded back into what now is 17 departments. But my
Mm-hmm,
point is that anytime you think business is going to be easy, you are immediately going to start losing. So
mm,
if you aim too low, you won't grow. If you aim too high, you'll get humble pie. So
mm-hmm,
you have to hold on to optimism and self-belief while also being wildly humble and practical. So I tell my business partner Kevin this. I say, brother, so we got our biggest client this year. Now, this is a $7,000 per month client.
mm-hmm.
So 7 times 12, like do the math on that. It's the
Right,
biggest
right,
client we've
yeah,
ever had, okay?
right.
That's more than some people's entire salary.
Mm-hmm,
So, and we're very blessed. I'm very grateful. But we didn't even celebrate. It was, brother, stay humble.
mm,
Because, yeah, the 7,000 a month is great. It's great.
mm-hmm,
But the scope of work is wild.
mm-hmm.
And if we don't do the work beneath that iceberg, that check doesn't come in,
Right.
right? And so when you're winning, stay humble.
Stay humble. Okay.
When you're losing, you got to stay hopeful and optimistic. And here's what I'll tell everybody out there. If you want to start a business, despite what Instagram says, I don't care if you're winning or losing, you better work. Because
Mm-hmm,
the business, when you punch a card, and I worked in corporate too,
mm-hmm,
iRobot, Sensata Technologies, Lens
mm-hmm.
Americas, all these different companies, they're going to win even if I'm not working 10-hour days.
Right, right.
When it's your own company, if you're not leading by example, no one will ever commit to growing this company as much as I do.
Mm-hmm,
And if I take days off, I notice other people are starting to. The moment I step off the gas, the whole team unconsciously does too. The
Yeah.
leader
So,
has to set the pace. The leader has to set the example. The leader has to be the most on point, the most optimistic, the most humble, the most intelligent, the most dialed in, the most on track. So it's a lot of responsibility. And at the end of the
yeah.
day, a lot of people start companies thinking that it's going to be easy. I remember someone early on, he said, I want to start my own company because I want more free time. And it's, listen, that's the worst
Less,
idea ever,
you get
because
less free time.
less free time. I have very little free time.
Yeah,
um,
it's like even now, uh, with all the things happening around me now, I have literally blocked out my calendar for two, 2 or 3 weeks this month,
nice,
where you will be the only person on until the end of July.
nice.
Okay, but along with that, what you said about keeping your foot on the gas, I know I have to go back in and do solo stream yards
Mm-hmm.
on topics I was doing as an audio podcast only before.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't, I'm gonna lose the momentum and all the gains I've made.
Exactly.
And that's and so I've already created one or two other episodes. Going back, tying it back to what you said again, because I will use my own self as an example. I got, I was so comfortable before I made that change of the job change. I was so
Yep.
comfortable recording an episode a month, audio only. I was so comfortable
Yeah.
maybe borrowing some YouTube, taking some reels and posting them.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
now
that's
the
over, man.
success of the success of all this hinges on me getting up, keeping the foot on the gas, knowing that on the wealth end of it, because of this type of work, it is not overnight. It's a slow walk. And other speaking gigs, things that's how I've come from it.
Mm-hmm.
I asked that question of you because I've known so many individuals, and some I definitely would catch this in replay on YouTube. Uh, they run a lawn care service, they run this, they run that, and they're getting comfortable in that area. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable in it. My end game is that freedom you mentioned. You run a
Mm-hmm.
business, there's the freedom to enjoy the things in life you want to enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
which often a paycheck cannot do in this economy, any other economy. Sure, you can buy a nice car. Sure, we can buy a nice house. We can do this, we can do that. But when I'm working overtime
Mm-hmm.
on a job for it versus my time, which
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about, yes, like you said, different levels, more work, more this, more that. What's the difference, in my opinion, of when you in loving to do it because it's what you love to do and getting compensated for it.
Well, it's about
And
meaning,
it's
meaningful
called, yeah,
work,
meaningful work.
meaningful work.
Let's take that phrase and you ran with that for a few moments because the
Okay.
clock is ticking down.
Meaningful work. That's what I ask people, because people say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I don't fully agree with that, particularly if you start a company. Because when you start a company, there's going to be a percentage of things that just suck.
Hmm. And my
And
case is checking expenses and logging them.
exactly, there you go. Perfect. Okay, I call it the want, love, hate framework. And I'll give you two examples. I want more clients. I love one on one coaching. I kind of hate social media. But guess what I do every single day? Social media.
Social media
Yep. Yep. Every day.
every day.
5 posts, 5 likes, 5 comments, 5 DMs, 5 invites every day. 25 every day. I have
That's
a
my challenge.
50-day
Yeah.
streak. I will send it to you if you want it. Just email me.
No, I'm
It's
saying
called the Next Level Sales System.
well, that's been a challenge for me. There was a time I did at least a post a day, 7 days a week, a podcast a day, 7 days a week.
Nice.
I get what you're saying. It's
Okay.
I get
So
it, my
so
brother.
here's
I
the
get
want
it.
love hate framework. I believe genuinely, and I'm not just saying this. I have 10,820 coaching sessions, trainings, and podcasts where I've helped
Mm-hmm.
people reach success. Number one, the
Mm-hmm.
science of achievement doesn't give a shit about your feelings.
Mm-mm.
Does not care.
Mm-mm.
External success requires internal belief and inputs. So want, love, hate. I want more clients. I love one-on-one coaching. I hate social media. Guess what I have to do?
Social media to
Social
get
media.
them.
I want a great physique. I love weight training. I hate dieting. Hate it. Hate
Mm-hmm.
it. Guess what I have to do?
Diet.
diet.
Yeah.
There is no exception I've ever found to that rule. I coach 20 business owners. One of them is 4 times a week. 2 of them are 3 times a week. The rest are bi-weekly, weekly, and monthly. I've been coaching for 10 years, mentoring for 10, coaching for 8, which basically means I started getting paid. And I'm telling you right now, the want, love, hate framework never fails. Everything you want and love is on the other side of something you hate, period. So you hate tracking finances. Guess what you have to do to be successful? Track finances. And there's no way around it. Just stop trying to look for the way around it. There's no way around it. I try to focus. I try to focus on what's the thing that I hate doing that I know I need to do in order to achieve X, Y, Z. And then I try to make sure I do that at least once a day.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking like now. Even as we speak, I got like I have the digital and I have the paper, but I've got to go in and categorize like 2 weeks of digital receipts. Like, a day. I get what you're saying. Because on my end is more the receipts end right now. Some aspects of it. There are things that generate revenue, but I'm not going to go into that in this show. Um, some things I keep really private and personal unless I need to talk about them. Let me think. God, these impromptu shows, I got kind of complacent because I was doing a show or 2 a week, and you're the first person in like a week and a half. So I'm
Oh,
like,
no
God,
worries.
dang,
I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful.
I'm off
Ask me
my A
anything.
game here because I
Anything,
was on the
anything,
flow. Like, yeah, in the conversation, because that's
anything
another
you
thing
need.
too. That's another thing about this whole deal, podcasting, streaming it live as I do with StreamYard, which I get paid through referrals. Thank you. It's
Nice.
keeping my bill low. uh, every show I think I picked up 5 or 6 referrals in the last few weeks doing these
Nice.
shows. But when it gets back around, taking this whole thing back around full circles, we're to wrap this thing up. Next Level University. What are 2 things? What are 2 reasons why people should reach out to you by means of the link associated with this live stream and the video to Next Level
Well,
University? 2 reasons.
the number one is your reference group.
Okay.
So there was a Harvard study done that they showed that 94% of your success or failure in life is going to come down to who you associate with.
Okay.
And the next levelers, Next Level Nation is what we call it, is a community, a global community of people that all care about being healthier, wealthier, and more in love. As a matter of fact, we have a fitness group, private, totally free fitness group with 43 people. They're in there right now. Like everyone posts pictures. It's the Next Level Fitness Accountability Group, and I'm that's actually invite only. I'm not even necessarily promoting that, but what I am saying is
That's fine.
I have the benefit of being around people who are all dialed in. So I use this as a metaphor. I did some research, and only 0.023% of the U.S. military is Delta Force. So the 2 most elite groups in the military is Delta Force and SEAL Team 6. And I did some ChatGPT research. Less than 3 out of every 13,000 people in the service ever become SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force. And that's the metaphor that I try to use for my one-on-one coaching. And if anyone has any mental health challenges whatsoever, like I do not recommend my coaching. The reason why is because we don't miss a trick. Every single person tracks metrics and habits every single day. Everyone on my team, same deal. So why should they reach out? Number one, if you want to reach your true potential and not just talk about it, and I always say this, I care about your success first, your fulfillment second, your feelings third. I say to every client, I am not the guy I'm not a therapist. I'm not someone who you're going to want to come to talk about your feelings. I'm going to help you reverse engineer your goals and dreams, and I'm going to push you. You know those NFL coaches that really push their players, and then you see the Pee Wee football coaches that are taking it too seriously. You have to coach, a professional differently than you coach someone in Pee Wee football. And so if you are at a level where you really, really are ready to commit to that next level, definitely reach out. I always say if you're humble, grateful, and you have a sincere interest in reaching your true potential through massive amounts of work and effort and time and investment, then you're going to love me, you're going to love NLU, you're going to love what we do. If
Okay.
you want big rewards for minimal effort, do not reach out to me under any circumstances. I will
Mm-hmm.
only waste your time
Mm-hmm.
because Kevin and I were strivers, we're not arrivers.
Right.
And a lot of people, and it's okay, I'm not making it wrong, everyone chooses for themselves. They are romanticizing arriving when in reality, climbing meaningful mountains is usually what brings real success and fulfillment. And I know a lot of people, I've spent 10 years in this personal development industry. I know a lot of people who are doing a whole lot of talking and not a lot of walking.
Mm-hmm.
And they're literally, some of them are just lying. They're blatantly lying about their
Mm-hmm.
listens, and some of them bought their accounts and bought their views and bought their YouTube views
Mm-hmm.
and bought their Instagram followers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And
that's
so like
those areas. Those are things I refuse to do. I'd rather
same,
have three faithful than 1,000.
same.
Yeah.
And real people in the real world, helping real people in the real world with real challenges,
Mm-hmm.
not the fake, thing. And so if someone is sick and tired of being hoodwinked on the internet and
Mm-hmm.
you really want to put in the work and you really want to see results, reach out. But do not reach out under any circumstances if you want big rewards for minimal effort.
Okay. That takes me back to again, like began with my own story, my own situation. I am strongly considering reaching out to you, get the free coaching. I do know that I will need to spend the remainder of this year getting the footing under this, like I want to get it under it.
I've got you.
Um, Also know I want to bring you back in a different time slot, similar topic. Probably I do a variation of the episode title because I have more people on in the evening hours here. I know we're in different time zones slightly, but if you different time when I bring people on this show, what I call that stream time zone, I have a Saturday time slot open up. Those are open coming on Saturdays. That's how I did Wings for Heroes out of Turkey. He used my 3 to 12 to 3 time slot on a Saturday afternoon. Uh, and that went fairly well. First time in a long time. I hear what you're saying about being dialed in. I have to be truly able to be dialed in to to do what you're saying with your program. I will not waste your time. I would say that now. I will not waste your time by doing it today.
Nice.
Uh, I understand that level of dedication as we wrap this thing up in the next 13, 14 minutes. Years ago, one of my childhood aspirations, like a lot of people, kids back used to be back in the day. I don't know so much now. You wanted to be a firefighter or a police officer. That was like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hero kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of doing the firefighter thing 3 times in my life. The first time, I, I ain't gonna go into that because it can cause some. I say something I want to say up here. But the
Yeah.
second time as a volunteer. The third time though, uh, when I applied, I ended up be my story. I keep saying ended up being because past tense, not without knowledge of it. Once I got in Ricky's, once I went through the interviews and got accepted, it was then that I learned I would become the second oldest firefighter ever in that municipality's history.
Whoa.
I'm like, and the other person was the first oldest in the same class. So there we were in our late 30s, surrounded by the 18, 19, 20-year olds. We made the cut.
Nice.
Uh, but actually, I'll be more exact on time. It was class of 2002, I think it was. So you subtract that from where I'm at now at 62 years of age, you get my age. But we
Nice.
we we were in the class, and in my case, I received the letter for the physical agility test 2 weeks before the test. Worst shape ever in my life that I knew of as far as physical. I mean, the job I had with the city was driving a truck. So I would drive a dump truck come home. So I had 2 weeks, a couple dumbbells, and some sons who believed that their dad could do it. Um, and so I took those couple dumbbells, and my sons went with me for the physical agility test. I
Nice.
aced the interviews. No, I got know how to get the test first and then get the interviews. So there we were on the fairgrounds, all these young guys around, everything, and that thing you said about determination, that sacrifice. If you want it, it's not for those that don't want it. I
Yeah.
wanted it so badly, I cut the mustard. I made
Nice.
it. I got into school. I stayed
Nice.
there. I was like 11 years on in the service. Participated in a rescue during that time frame.
Whoa.
I'll bring that back to what you were saying, Master, back to what you were saying. I'm a living proof of like others out here, not just me. If you want something bad enough,
Yeah.
you take the emotional part out of it because in that in that training on the surface, it's like, oh, you're cool, you're a firefighter, and yeah, you training to ride on a truck, and you get the nice uniform, and you going to school 5 days a week. They, but when I got home, I was darkly tired because the first day of school, they put us in a freaking gymnasium doing exercises. Then they made us run a mile. Then they made us run more miles, and it's like this ain't. I didn't sign up for this. But it goes back to what you were saying, and I'm using it in the same context. Do not reach out to him if you're not willing to put the emotional stuff aside, because in that place, and I've shared with other people, they're like, "That was hazing. That was wrong." I'm like, to do that, to be engaged in that profession, you
Yeah, you
gotta
have
be
to be
open to
prepared for a
putting the feelings
fire.
aside. Yeah, huh?
Yeah. You if
It's a different
how
mindset, it's a different mentality.
yeah, you're
Because
going
you're
to
putting your
run
life on the line
into
every
a
day you go to
burning
work.
building, you better be able
Yeah,
to handle some
yeah,
emotional
you
turmoil,
gotta be able to
right?
do
So,
all dealing with drunks, alcohol. You deal with all
yeah.
sorts of stuff. So if you're emotional, we had some that bailed out.
Yeah, of
They
course.
they walked away. They were like, I can't handle this. It's too much. I'm
Yeah.
saying this in the context of what your
Yeah.
presentation.
Well, I just learned that I'm not good for everyone. That's all. That's okay,
Well, it's
right?
not so much you not being good for everyone. Everyone's not cut out.
Yeah.
I'm a very brash person. I'm fairly nice in these shows. Everyone's not cut out for not being cuddled.
Yeah, man.
You can be
I
cut.
I have a I have a client who's 4 times a
I'm
week,
sorry, I'm
and
laughing, but everyone's
no,
not.
it's
Oh,
true.
you be okay, baby. Try another day. No, you
Yeah, yeah,
won't.
yeah.
You say you
No,
want
well,
this, you gotta go get it.
everybody gets a trophy, right? So, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, the truth is
Anyway.
life is hard inherently,
Mhm,
and we grow through adversity and challenge.
mhm,
And the formula for strength is time under tension plus the weight of the load. And
mhm,
if you're someone who wants easy, you should never work with me, and that's just the
mhm.
truth. And in
No.
the beginning, I didn't know that to the extent that I do now, but I've done 10,000, like I said, 10,820 coaching sessions, trainings, and
Right.
podcasts. And at this stage, I know who I'm good for and I know who I'm not, and I know who's cut out for it and who's not. And at the end of the day, I don't really, I'm done chasing. I'm not
Yeah.
interested. I'm
I'm
not
sorry.
interested.
Yes. I like
Yeah.
you, man.
I
Because
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm not interested in coaching someone who doesn't want to do work, who doesn't want to work.
right.
And
Um,
and to me, humility, work ethic, and wanting to reach your potential is what I look for. And I actually have a filter. It's called on Med's Eye. Anyone who's unstable, naive, manipulative, entitled, delusional, significance driven, arrogant, or immature, those people I'm not interested in working with.
right.
And in the past, I unfortunately worked with people who it wasn't constructive. It was destructive, and I don't
And
do that
it,
anymore. So
it burns up your energy, it burns up your time, everything.
yeah, of
Um,
course. Yeah, I
even with
regret it.
like
Yeah.
this, yeah, even with like this, there's a time I would accept anybody, everybody, just have someone on Life is About More Than Living. Now that I'm booking again through Match FM, Matchmaker FM,
Mm-hmm.
I've said I could have more people. I've said no to at least 4 or 5 in the last couple of weeks
Nice. Good.
because it's not conducive to what I'm trying to achieve,
Exactly.
and it's not the messages I'm trying to send out there now. Because every time I do one of these, my YouTube channel grows at least to 3 or 4 by 3 or 4 or 5 subscribers.
Nice.
I'm gonna mention this thing and I'm gonna let you wrap it up because some of this and some of this. Well, Alfred, you do a lot of talking about yourself on your show. Well, it's my show. Anyway, but
Nice.
but there you go. But going back,
You funny,
but
man.
going back, but going
Yeah.
back to the YouTube aspect of it, I fought so many. I fought it so long. The video aspect of this thing. I'm like, I love audio. It's safe. But now I'm doing it, and then I fought pursuing subscribers. And like, that's the end game. You want subscribers. You want
Of
returning
course.
people.
You got to.
So now on my link tree, you don't get access to my YouTube unless you subscribe.
Nice. Nice.
So that being said, I like playing off of all you're saying. You have all these little things you develop to summarize what you're doing. I appreciate that, sir. Um,
Thank you.
I appreciate having someone that has the energy of some other younger people I've had on engaged with outside of this show. Uh, trying to think. I'm gonna just let you say whatever you want to say to wrap us up, and we're done. I hit the
Oh,
end session button, and I'll get you back. And by before the year's over, in a later time slot. So,
yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
yep,
At
you're
one point, this
welcome.
was a dream, so I never want to forget that. Thank you. Uh,
Hmm.
I think the thing I'd end with is when it comes to real results in the real world, despite the digital world kind of, I think we all live in two worlds.
Hmm.
There's the social world, and then
Hmm.
there's the real world. The social
Hmm.
world is the wedding photos on Instagram.
Hmm.
The real
Hmm.
world is the marriage.
Mm. More powerfully it couldn't be said. Yeah.
Work harder on the marriage than you do on the photos,
Hmm.
and that is the base of what I think is consistently a challenge in the 21st century.
Hmm.
People are, I've met them. I was a fitness model. I did 43 photo shoots. I did 3 fitness competitions. I met I've met supermodels from Dubai, Patriots cheerleaders. I've
Hmm.
met these people. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying what you got to understand is that these people in the real world are not what you think.
Hmm.
And don't compare someone else's Instagram to your real life.
Hmm.
And take responsibility for your real life, and success doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't.
Hmm.
If you can't be consistent, and you can't believe in yourself, and you can't do the hard work, and you can't develop skills, and you don't have work ethic and self-discipline. I actually created a list of the top 30 reasons people don't achieve their goals, and I can name a couple: no goals, unclear goals, too many goals, conflicting goals, lack of self-discipline, lack of self-belief, only short-term goals, only long-term goals, lack of self-worth, bad reference group, lack of skills, lack of knowledge, poor attitude.
Hmm.
There's a lot of reasons. I'm coming up with a list of my top 100 reasons people don't achieve their goals and dreams. And the reason why is because it's really, really difficult. And so if you're arrogant enough to think that you don't have to work hard and you can still achieve whatever you want, you're in
Hmm.
some serious trouble, because even if you put it all on the court, you still might not win. And that takes
Hmm.
a lot of humility.
Hmm. Humility is the word you use often on this show. And it's giving me a thought for the next time we have an encounter. And yeah, perhaps dive into the power of humility.
Self
As
belief
as
plus
a com
humility, because
yeah,
self
yeah,
belief and humility rarely go hand in hand. Those are the two
really
most
grand hand.
important. Those two.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't have the humility until after my car accident that I needed.
Hmm. Well,
My
that's it.
car accident, I always say, aim too high, you'll eat humble pie. Aim too low, and
Yeah,
you won't grow.
won't grow.
You won't
But
grow. So we'll talk
lot,
about that next time. Self belief and humility, and how they
yeah.
usually
I
don't come
mean,
hand in hand,
come
but they need to
come
be
hand in hand.
married, right?
Made the gear in a tight marriage. Yeah.
Yep.
Self self growth. Excuse me. Humility and the other one you just mentioned.
Self belief. Self belief.
Self belief. Yeah. I shouldn't forget that one because it set the core of no matter what happens, I win.
Yeah.
On my crappy days, I'm like, I gotta believe in myself. No one else does.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think I shared that with some.
Exactly.
I think I told some. I think I told. I can't recall where I said that something similar to. Oh, Lord, I talk about her often. But I'm trying to do better talking about my wife to herself. She would catch this at some point. She went through a recent change. I said to her, if they don't celebrate you, celebrate yourself.
Nice.
And that thing there, that self belief, marriage, and humility, if no one else. Alan, man, I'm glad I took this leap and went in the direction I normally wouldn't go in. Someone with a product that has a human element to it, but in the human element side of it, we must be dedicated to our purpose. Beyond that, that's a whole nother episode too. Anyway, thank you, sir. I'm gonna end the stream like now, and
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
thank you for being up here.
You're welcome.
You have a great day, sir.
You
Thank
too.
you.
You
All right,
too. Thank you.
goodbye.